After my first Palms hotel experience, I'd use words like trendy, modern, elegant, and freaking nice to describe the resort. Let me show you why you shouldn't be sleeping on it. This is my first day at Palms since Station Casino spent $690 million renovating every facet of the resort, and I was excited to see how that work had held up. Interestingly, Station Casino sold the resort to the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians in 2021, making this one of only a few tribal-operated casinos in the Las Vegas market. I booked Palms' cheapest room, an Ivory Tower 2 Queen, for a grand total of $261.91, and that's inclusive of the nightly room rate, the resort fee, taxes, and a $45 early check-in fee, which seemed ridiculously high, but I desperately needed to get another room to charge some backup batteries. This baseline room, though, can commonly be booked for under $100 during non-peak times, plus the $42 nightly resort fee and taxes. Considering it was like 10 a.m., there wasn't a soul at the front desk, which doubles as a pretty cool photo op, so I was able to procure my key cards and headed to the room. Emerging from the elevator on the Ivory Tower's 11th floor, I took note of how solid the elevator lobby and hallway felt. The wall art, carpet, and lighting all felt fresh, stylish, and new, albeit not over-the-top luxurious. It kind of felt like a slightly nicer Planet Hollywood to me at this point. The room itself is well-sized at 440 square feet and made a great first impression. What I dug most was the decor strategy. The eyes on the back wall mural, the colorful chair and ottoman next to the windows, the tubular throw pillows on the bed, and the old-timey clock on the nightstand were all nice aesthetic touches. The carpet was fresh and in great shape. Most everything in the room was, for that matter. The closet was home to wooden hangers, an ironing board, a spare pillow, and was connected to the work desk, which had a Keurig coffee machine station to top it. The 48-inch TV was crystal clear, had a modern, easy-to-navigate channel guide, and was mounted above a bench. Next to the bench was a dry minibar stocked with snacks, right above a refrigerated minibar that was locked and unopenable, saving me from myself. Notably, the dry countertop minibar was stocked with one single K-cup for the Keurig, which cost a very reasonable $2.50. But why not stock more than one? You'd sell a million of these things. You can also tell this is a classy joint because the ice bucket and glasses weren't made of cheap plastic, a key hotel niceness indicator. Disappointingly, only traditional outlets were available bedside and on the work desk. No USB charge ports were offered room-wide, which sucked, because that's what I needed to charge my backup batteries, and the whole reason I paid an egregious amount of money to check in early. I feel like USB charge ports are kind of an expectation at nicer or newer hotels at this point, so that was disappointing. My room faced south, so I had a view of Palms Fantasy Tower, Allegiant Stadium, and resorts along the south end of the Las Vegas Strip. It even overlooked the pool. The bathroom was also quietly nice, yet basic, with a single sink vanity topped with an illuminated mirror, a toilet with a little frosted glass privacy wall, and a shower, also with the half-glass wall setup that I don't love because water gets everywhere. Annoyingly, it was impossible to reach in and turn the shower on without getting your arm blasted by freezing cold water. Minor gripe, but there was no way around it, and I didn't love it. Unbranded bath products were also provided. On the whole, this was a great room. Quiet, clean, and comfortable. So what's not to like? I always scour hotel rooms for dusty corners, rogue hairs, damage, stains, etc. And it was really hard to find anything of note in this case. There was a couple spots where dust had accumulated, one faint wall splatter, and a piece of trim had broken on the TV wall. Probably the roughest part of the room was the desk chair, which has definitely seen better days. On the whole though, I thought this room was in really great condition and was very clean. I also think it's important to call out Palms' location, which is away from the Strip. It is a cheap Uber or Lyft, but if centrally located is what you're looking for, this ain't it. That said, Palms is a short walk from Rio, which is currently in the process of reinventing itself in a good way, a Walgreens for stocking up your room on the cheap, and even a dispensary across the street if that's your jam. Let's shift focus to the broader resort experience at Palms. The casino has an upbeat, stylish vibe, and from a looks perspective, she shines just as bright as any casino on the Strip. While I'm not an elite interior design mind by any stretch of the imagination, I thought the light fixtures were extremely cool. On the topic of decor, it's impossible to look away from Damien Hirst's chopped up shark, which is memorialized in 3 tanks of formaldehyde in Palm's unknown bar, which is centrally located on the casino floor. When I die, this is what I want. Make me into a casino decoration. Or toss my ass into the bodies exhibit at Luxor. Anyway, the elegance on the casino floor spilled into the sportsbook, which is also really nice and had a crispy video wall. In addition to around 1,500 slot games, Palms was dealing blackjack as cheap as $5, $10 craps, and $10 roulette during the day on a Monday. Palms Pearl Theater hosts an assortment of talent and artists that you've heard of like Babyface, George Lopez, Jeff Foxworthy, Aaron Lewis, and more. Check the calendar to see who will be performing when you visit. Being off the beaten path a little bit, dining options on site are important, and Palms delivers options with influences from around the world and at all price points. On the cheaper end, the Eatery Food Hall is home to fast food options like Earl of Sandwich, Panda Express, and McDonald's, which I destroyed after a late night gambling sesh. Not adventurous or original, but I have no regrets. The dispensary might have played into that decision a little bit as well. Other notable options include Palms Pizza, which serves pizza by the slice, Scotch 80 Prime, which is an upscale steakhouse, and Mabel's, which serves burgers, sandwiches, and world-class barbecue. The most popular dining option by a long shot though was their A.Y.C.E buffet, which isn't the best buffet in Vegas. That distinction belongs to Bacchanal or Wynn in my opinion, but it might just be the best buffet value in town. I stopped in for brunch, which costs $42.99 and includes bottomless mimosas as part of that price 7 days a week. You're paying extra for that on the Strip. On the food front, A.Y.C.E offered both breakfast and lunch items like crab legs, a mountain of shrimp, a pile of little steaks, an assortment of pizza, and American breakfast classics like eggs, sausage, breakfast potatoes, and bacon. The carving station offered both roast beef and bone-in ham. Unfortunately, prime rib was not an option though. Aside from the crab legs, the most popular item at the buffet was the made-to-order eggs and omelet station, which allows you to choose your own ingredients. Of course, they serve boring stuff like salads and fruit, although nobody gave them a second glance. Pretty sure they're just there for decoration. The dessert section of the buffet was stocked with a variety of donuts, cookies, and other sweet treats, a selection of pie by the slice, and a counter stocked with assorted gelato flavors. This is my second visit to this particular buffet, and both experiences have been exceptional. It's fantastic. The next morning, I ordered the Serrano Vista breakfast from the Serrano Vista Cafe, which carried a menu price of $17. And honestly, it looked great, especially those potatoes, but most of the items were hardly warm. I dug into those potatoes first and they were barely above room temperature and hard as a rock, as if they maybe were still raw. The eggs, sausage, bacon, and toast were good enough though, albeit not that warm either. Online reviews for this restaurant are really solid, so I guess I'm comfortable chalking it up to a one-off or fluky experience, but it wasn't great. Unfortunately, Palm's main pool was closed for the season when I visited, and I was forced to stare at how cool it looked from my hotel room without being able to jump in. Uniquely though, pool cabanas at that main pool are equipped with their own private plunge pool, and the second level plunge pools have a glass wall that create a pretty unique aesthetic. Palm's second pool, the Laguna Pool, is located on the backside of the property at Palm's Place and is also available to hotel guests, although it was closed due to high winds when I visited. While I've visited Palm's Casino and Buffet previously, this was my first hotel experience, and I don't think it'll be my last. The room was modern, clean, comfortable, and in great condition, and I really dig the resort. The pool looks amazing, I can't wait to finally go scope it out, and the casino floor is elegant with a high energy level, and it offers table game minimums that are a rung cheaper than casinos on the Strip. Dining options are wide-ranging, but the crown jewel of value is the A.Y.C.E buffet, which is comparable to some of the best buffets in Las Vegas like Wicked Spoon, Bacchanal, and the buffet at Wynn at a comparatively low price point. If you don't mind the location, Palms is a great spot. Check it out. Hey, thanks for watching. My name is Jake with Stock on the Strip, and if you have strong opinions on Palms or your experience there, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. As always, if you think Ike and I are halfway competent at what we do, I'd love it if you subscribe to our channel so that you're alerted when new content is created.